This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys, today is Tuesday, January 7th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we can see that the everyday stocks, market stocks jumped a little bit overnight, but we got a few things going on new within our scanners. First thing we're going to be looking at is APA. So one of the things that we want to look at is the fact that this thing jumped a huge amount. So you talk, excuse me, then APA, I'll get to that in a second. But with APA, we're talking 25.64, jumping almost $5 towards the upside, which is, is a substantial. You're talking about almost 18% jumping up this morning. And one thing that we want to think about, when it jumps up that much, you have to assume we're going to see profit taking, and we've seen a ton of it. You look over here around that 29.50 level, we look at 29.90, so right underneath the 30, and then we come to that 30. You could see just a ton of people taking off their positions there. Now we have a little bit of new buying, which not nearly as much as I would like to see from the amount of selling that we've had coming into this morning. You have 1.1 million shares already. So yes, this is definitely, we have to, because it jumped up, we definitely have to take that selling as profit taking. And then we do have a little bit of new buying, like I said, but based off the amount of selling, I cannot imagine that it really has that much more to go unless we start to see a lot more new buying coming in. Because you got to think about it. If this thing was going to move to 35, we would see a lot more coming in and a lot less coming out. The money flow this morning has been way more money coming out than money coming in. So keep that in mind as we get into the morning. So this thing jumping up, isn't, you just, I can't take it unless more, like I said, more new buying comes in, that it's really has much more room to go back up above that 30 level. But once again, if we continue, once the market gets closer to the open and we start to see a lot more new buying coming in, then we can, kind of adjust from there. But as of right now, I'm going to be expecting a little pop over 30 before we end up coming back underneath there. So I am going to be looking for that short based off the amount of selling that we have, unless, like I said, we start to see a lot more new buying coming in. Next thing looking at is APLS. So this is what I was talking about before. Huge jump coming into the morning. So we closed yesterday at 30.19, and it jumped all the way up to the 50 level, which is just, once again, I mean, you're talking about almost $20 move coming into here. But one thing that's very interesting is you can see there hasn't really been that much new buying coming in. So at that 49, we had a little bit, but based off of, I mean, don't get me wrong, the orders are extremely spread out. We have a really big spread, as well as, just basically no orders whatsoever. So the pullback from a 49 being up that much, I mean, still, I can't really see it being $6. So overall, I just haven't seen enough in here to basically to tell us that we're going to be coming back up. Although, like I said, there's not really much else that's going on in here. 46.50, a little bit, but we're a little bit far away from there. So we definitely want to see something better coming into this. We want to see some more definitive, better show of hand within it, because it's going to have a big range. You can see it only trades $1.40 on average with about 982,000 shares. We already have 1.1 million shares being traded already this morning. And it's just, I mean, we're going to be expecting a big move, especially because of the fact that, it's up $20. So keeping that in mind, so a pullback move to actually build a position wouldn't be shocking for it to be bigger, but I just wish we would have seen a lot more over here, because they were just way too spread out. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was between two, about 3 minutes, but again, I'm just not convinced one way or the other within this. So I'm going to be looking really closely for a nice show of hand to come into this. That's going to show us short term, and from there we should have a very big range. Next thing looking at, it's going to be on our side list, but APOP. So the reason it's on our side list is because actually this buying looks a lot better, coming here at 565 and then coming up towards that 6 level. But one of the things that I really don't like on cheaper stocks is when we go up to where the top is. Okay, so we're talking about pulled over 8, but we look at that and we don't see really any type of bigger prints there. So even if we are to get a nice trigger towards the upside, it's really not triggering towards anything. A lot of times with these cheaper stocks that you see make this big move during the pre-market, what ends up happening is the market will open and we'll get a really nice pop, which makes it look like everybody should get in, and then they basically just hammer everybody and get out of their positions once the stock starts popping up that way. Now we are, like I said, we are getting some nice bigger bursts that are coming in. This one 855, this one once we pretty much started. So Overall, it's not terrible, but like I said, with these cheaper stocks, I love to have buying near the tops once they make these big pullbacks, and unfortunately, we just don't really have that. So overall, like I said, new buying coming in, but it's another one. It's kind of iffy. It doesn't really have that really high percentage. This is what I'm going to do the second the market opens, and based off of not having buying at those highs, I'm really going to be anticipating a fact of the jumping up once the pre-market opens, and then a quick move before it ends up coming back down. And this is all obviously willing that if we start pulling up, we come to 650, we see some really nice buying coming in there, and then we move to 7, we see some really nice buying. We could kind of judge it a little bit differently, but as of right this second, there's just not enough there and not enough buying at those new highs for me to be able to do that. Next thing looking at is ADXS. So ADXS is you got to understand, we talk about this all the time. What are my goals? What am I looking to accomplish? Now, this is going to be a stock that's not going to move a huge amount. All right. So if you're not trading a lot of shares, it really isn't something that you're going to be wanting to focus on. And that's the reason that it's on the side list. It's not on the side list because it's a bad stock. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely is a little bit quantity and the range isn't really big, but these type of stocks you can make a lot of money on. You just have to trade a lot more shares. So if you're not at that point in your stages, don't even look at this thing. And obviously, if it starts to, run like crazy and change its personality from what we've seen coming into it, you'll see that in the chat and then kind of go from there. But this isn't one, like I said, it's just, know what you're looking to accomplish this morning. And if it isn't to trade a lot of shares for a smaller move, then this is not your stock. And that's the reason that it's going to be on our side list. Other than that, guys, I don't see too much else going on. Anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there? CRWD. So CRWD was great yesterday. Let's see what we got going on this morning. It looks like it's a little bit spotty. It's on my smaller charts. Yeah. See, unfortunately, it's a little bit, not really much going on, but this is beautiful right here, 45 at the 5450, based off of it really not doing too, I mean, it's got 217,000 shares, but not really any type of consistent trading volume. And really, most of when it's kind of jumped up, it's been from, just been on like a big, a bigger burst or some bigger prints, but definitely something to keep an eye on. LK is another one which, we know is being hammered by selling, and it's jumped back up and to that 35 level. Very sideless stock. Tesla. Well, so Tesla, I'm not going to, Tesla right now we're talking about, is at is at $460. So definitely not something that I'm going to be looking at for the day trade side of things. But definitely, I mean, Tesla is always going to be a trade, day in, day out, based off the range that it has and based off the volume that it trades. But one other thing that I do want to talk about real quick is STC. Don't forget about this one, because yesterday, remember, at 10, we had just a huge amount of buying. And then at that 1050, we had basically, about 10 prints or so, somewhere in that area. So there's definitely a lot of other buying that we're going to, there's definitely huge buying within this thing that has not been satisfied, because you got to remember, the guy that came in at 10, to make 85 cents, that's okay. But the guy that came in at 10.50 to make 35 cents, I'm not sold on that whatsoever. So overall, I am going to be watching this. A trigger to the upside is definitely going to be high percentage, but once again, it will be high percentage once it pulls back from those 10 level. So that 10 level, I wouldn't be shocked to see it kind of just, it's going to die out. But remember, these cheaper stocks do act a lot of an exception. I'm going to tell you right now, if I get a trigger towards the upside, I'm going to take it. All right, with that amount of buying that's sitting there. But we just need to make sure that there's a strong trigger that shows us that the actual follow through and actual buying that's coming into it. Because technically, based to really make it a high percentage trade, it's going to need to come underneath that 10 level. All right, guys, anything else? Nope, looks like that's it. So we don't have a bad list going on right now, and I just want to pull this up real quick. APA, look at this. All right. So just keep that in mind, that somebody, and that's a very weird position. This is just, I want to give you just an idea of what class is going to be like next time. How do we interpret these prints? Well, first of all, this guy's above 30. 30 being a psychological level, there's no reason to sell above a support level. Okay, so you have that 30 sitting there, support 30, you have 72,000 shares at 844 at the print line. So when we see this means a lot to us. Okay, and that's the type where we're going to be, that's what our next class round is going to be. It's going to be all about how to interpret our prints with our puzzles. All right, guys, let's get ready for our morning. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.